So, to be fair, before I go on, I think he did mention something about his Substack and about explaining why it happened. So what I basically want to do is, I want to touch on something David Pakman was talking about, how when it comes to when there's occasionally like a shooting, why people tend to jump to conclusions and say it's staged and stuff like that. And because when he was talking about it, it automatically helped me to. I automatically remembered about um, agnostic thought. And with agnostic thought, the way you think is, in order come to in order to come to conclusions, you need information to lead yourself to conclusions. And in my two sides oneself philosophy, which is all about finding balance between mind and emotion to find the truth in the world. And what basically happens is based on like agnostic thought, where it's something I call the trajectory of coincidence. So the example that I usually use is you sometimes you have a situation where you go on holidays and you end up seeing someone that you haven't seen for like decades. And so what happens is you both are kind of living your own separate lives, probably like different like sides of the country, wherever. And then what it is you make plans, and then they make plans, and then the lines kind of like go upwards, and then they eventually cross. And when they cross, it basically creates a thing called a coincidence. And what happens is people then, yeah. So what happens because they don't have enough information to lead themselves to come to an accurate conclusions? Their emotions get the better of themselves, and they start thinking, "Oh, this can't be a random coincidence. You know, this must be happening um, for a reason." And that's just them trying to grasp at straws because they don't have enough information to lead themselves to a conclusion. Because when it comes to what you were doing and what your friend that you see, um, you essentially made plans, and and then those plans eventually intersect. And then you don't know the information that led to, you don't know all the information. You don't possess all the information to understand why um, you are there and they are there at the exact same time, even though it seems impossible. So because of that lack of ability to come to conclusions down to having enough information, you start like your emotions get the better of you. And I'm kind of explaining it again, but your emotions get the better of you, and you start thinking the impossible is possible. And it's just like, is it like when it comes to Occam's razor, and when it comes to the way in which I learned to use it, is when you're dealt with like a realistic possibility, and then when it comes to like a fantasy possibility, you always go with the most likely reality type thing. So when it comes to, there's not enough information to prove that fate and destiny, there's not enough information to prove that fate and destiny exists, right? So there's no information to lead you to that conclusion. So is it likely that that fantasy and magic exists when there's no proof? Or is it just your emotions are getting the better of you and it's just a random coincidence? And it's just like, I'll put this in there as well. It's like when it comes to religion, it's like a lot of people, I think, like I theorize, it's most, if not almost all religious people, um, they just like the idea that when they die, they're going to be reunited with their loved ones, and then they just believe in whatever like magical thing, just because they're emotionally attached to that idea of being reunited with their loved ones after they die. So then that's their emotions again playing a trick on them and making them believe something is real, thinking it's a fact when there's no proof. Now, theoretically, down to Schrodinger's cat, we're all cats trapped inside the box. We won't know what exists outside the box until we live a benevolent life to the full, and then we leave this world to go to positive afterlife, wherever the afterlife is going. We don't have enough. So I've explained why the coincidence happens. And what did I just go into? I was going to explain how theoretically it's possible because we don't have enough information either way to say that there is or there isn't an afterlife. So therefore, both answers are actually possible. So as long as we're trapped inside the box, any and all answers are possible. And they're all true and untrue at the same time. Um, yeah, so that's why people like jump to conclusions. Because when it comes to these shootings, whatever ones they are, it's like people don't have like all the information to help them come to accurate conclusions. And that's where emotion makes them make these like drastic jumps in like reasoning or logic. And I'll end with a little teaser of Two Sides, Oneself philosophy, which I tried recording but messed it up. Um, you got two sides to oneself philosophy. You got your logical side and your emotional side. One side speaks the truth, the other side speaks nothing but lies. True enlightenment is found from finding balance between mind and emotion. And if you let your emotions guide you purely, it will only ever lead you to believe in falsehoods and lesser truths. And the reason why you need a balance between mind and emotion, because I usually explain it like in order to judge ethics or morality effectively, you need your emotions, and your emotions are attached to your empathy. And that's like, and two sides to oneself philosophy, by my nature of how I create my theories, that might be kind of small, but there is more to it than that, and it's always hard for me to think of it on the spot when social anxiety is being factored in. But anyway, oh, in the knowing you are limited, but in the unknown, anything and everything is possible.